Hello everyone and welcome to Game 5 here on Metalopolis. Game 5 in this series, or now that I think about it, it may be all of the games just completely out of order. Someone may have mislabeled them. I will go ahead and let you know as Kaz opens up with a good luck, have fun. Nerchio also opening up with a good luck, have fun as well. Now, Kaz spawning here as the blue Terran player at the 3 o'clock position. Nerchio spawning on the far side of the map as the red Zerg here at the 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock position. Full cross spawns. And I think this is going to be good for Nerchio. Nerchio doesn't have to worry about too much early harassment. He should be able to drone up in peace, but then again, Kaz has been playing and opening up with very wide array of strategies that seem to work out well. Now, we'll see what Kaz is going to do in this particular matchup. Front door supply depot, making sure that Zerglings are not going to be able to run by as the SCV does wander around the map. Meanwhile, back over here, Nerchio looks like he should be going for a quick hatchery. We'll see if he continues to train up drones or if he makes his way down with one of those drones. One drone already starting to do a scout as we now see a hidden barracks, hidden very out of the way, and this is somewhat out of the ordinary. I'm not sure if this one barracks will actually be spotted, as we now see a drone going to perhaps slip by, and we'll see if this drone does spot it. If it doesn't spot it, that would be an absolutely huge play. I believe the drone will spot it. Yes, it does spot the barracks down over here, and now perhaps going to make his way off to the north, but there are some trees in the way, and this is causing a bit of an issue here, as the trees are actually getting in the way of him trying to harass that SCV. It looks like the barracks will be completed with no issue whatsoever as this SCV does start to move out. Now, back over here, we can see that the drone is going to simply walk up the ramp. Another supply depot will be placed down as this game does start. We can also see a spawning pool, a standard build. Nerchio still not going for gas. That drone is currently on patrol, wanting to make sure that no bunkers are placed down at all. And now you're going to see this barracks landing here, and the game will continue. So barracks here, perhaps adding on a tech lab or a reactor. It could be a Hellion opening, as Hellions are very powerful against a fast expanding Zerg. But then again, if Nerchio does tech to roaches in time, he shouldn't be in too much of a problem. Marine now wandering around is going to see some of these drones over here. Perhaps get some damage onto a drone. No, one of the drones are pulling away the Marines. Now the Marine trying to run away from those drones, unable to do so, as we are going into a reactor Hellion opening as I originally thought. Now it's going to be a matter of time before Nerchio does start to either go for spine crawlers or more queens to try to fend off these Hellions. This is a reactor Hellion opening here on Metalopolis, and we'll see what's going to be happening as this one command center is the counter to this one hatchery on the far side of the map. Barracks about to finish off this reactor here. It is going to start double training up Hellions in just a moment, and then we'll see how this game does unfold. Kaz could try to go into a starport here, start adding on tech labs, but the Zerglings able to perhaps pick off some of these SCVs, and this one SCV that is currently trying to build up the command center, it does get taken down, and the Marines not really able to do all too much. There are 6 Zerglings in this group, and now a fresh SCV to get destroyed as the Hellion's now going to come in and torch. Is it going to be enough? Yes, 2 Hellions going to finish off all of those Zerglings there, and Kaz using that SCV as bait, running it around as the Hellions finish torching it off. Spinecrawler being built. Spinecrawler does take 50 seconds to build, though, so that is going to be a bit of an issue. The Queen needs to hold it off as long as she can. There is going to be another Queen adding on to this, and another Queen now making her way down to the ramp to make sure that those Hellions are not going to be able to deal all too much damage. Drones now getting slashed. One drone does get taken down. A second drone gets taken down as well, as Kaz now running away with those Hellions, and those Hellions now doubling in number. Going to be very effective as the Spinecrawler, finishing just in time to add in a bit more damage to finish off and push back those Hellions. So one Queen on the ramp, nicely done, well executed to ensure that those Hellions do not make their way off to the north. Now, Kaz already playing the economic game, getting up another command center as well, and getting up a very, very, very strong economy. He's going to be able to call in more mules. He's going to be able to train up a lot more SCVs, and he's going to be able to. Wow, how did I do that? It looks like the colors just swapped on me for a second. Did I hit a? Nope. All right, not quite sure what I hit. Anyways, Hellion's now coming back over here. It looks like this queen will get taken down. No, the queen able to join with her sister and fend that off that attack there. Roaches are now in position, and the roaches are there to counter the Hellions, but I believe we are now transitioning into siege tanks. The reactor no longer on the factory, and the siege tanks are going to counter those roaches very effectively as well. Reactors now being built down off over here. What, third orbital command now completed. Now double training SCVs in the main base. Natural expansion does have some as well, as the roaches just trying to spit onto those Hellions. The Hellions now being forced to retreat. But we do have one siege tank. The siege tank not yet in siege mode, but the siege tank does attack rather quickly, able to push back those three roaches there. So the siege tank getting off a quick and easy kill. We can see Nerchio establishing this base here at the 10 o'clock location just a little bit late, as we are now going to get some Hellions repaired, as the damage has been dealt, and they're no longer going to be able to cause that much harassment unless Nerchio slips up a little and doesn't place any roaches or spine crawlers here at the third base. Now, Kaz playing very well so far in this matchup. It looks like he's going to transition into the classic marine siege tank, but he doesn't have any medics, surprisingly. So without any medevacs, he's not going to be able to really freely use that stim pack. He is getting stim right now. He doesn't have combat shield, as the Hellions once again try to push forward, but is going to be stopped by those roaches. A roach infestation stopping those Hellions, and those Hellions now trying to retreat. Marine's going to get some easy overlords in the center portion of the map. There goes one overlord there. There's going to be another overlord here. Nerchio needs to be careful. If he doesn't, if he allows those overlords to all get shot down, he will be supply blocked. Now being forced to train up 4 overlords at a time, and this overlord isn't even spewing any creep. Back over here, this orbital command should be landing here in just a moment, and then it will be able to defend this gold mineral patch, start strip mining these gold minerals in order to get an even stronger economic advantage, as Kaz now sitting on 56 SCVs with 4 mules on 2 bases, compared to Nerchio's 59 drones on 3 bases. So pretty even right now, but the orbital command really just starting to take its toll, being able to lift off and then reestablish somewhere else. Kaz does have a starport being built. He should be adding on a reactor, and now he's going to start those upgrades even more in earnest, as he wants to macro up and get into 200 food count. Roach is unable to finish off any of those Hellions, and now in come the Marines and the siege tanks. Spinecrawler does take 12 seconds to root. This is not going to be a good engagement at all. The Spinecrawler now trying to root off over here, as the Marines, siege tanks are now blasting apart. A lot of damage being had. Marauders finishing this off. Siege tanks are pretty far deep here. The Marines being forced to pull back. Not that many Zerglings, just appear roaches, and the roaches look like they should be able to perhaps do an even trade here. And down goes the rest of this Terran army, as the Zerg army actually is slightly ahead. 56 drones though, compared to 63, as we can now see some SCVs being transferred off to the center. Zergling's going to try to perhaps catch some of these units out of position, but no, the medevac already there, ready to heal up and in time. Combat shield now being researched, as well as we are double calling in mules into this gold mineral patch. Bunkers also being built as well, as the Overlord is spewing creep to stop any command centers from landing off over here. The Marines should be able to get underneath that and take that down rather quickly. The Zergling, even with armor upgrade, unable to go toe-to-toe against this Marine here. Perhaps the Marine got in some easy free shots as the Zergling was trying to run over. A medevac now making its way over and quickly being stopped in its tracks, as it realizes it can't unload. Perhaps it's going to come back around or wait to drop another day. Mules really starting to strip mine at the gold mineral patch. You can now see the medevac once again making its way over. Roaches are going to start to swarm, and now the roaches going after marines. A lot of roaches just scurrying over. One roach does get taken down, but a couple marines were taken down as well, as we are now seeing roaches hiding off over here, and now going to perhaps do a main rush into the natural expansion and perhaps try to get some damage. But there are a lot of supply depots up already, so the Zerglings are not going to be able to run through nearly as easily as they want to. One supply depot may get taken down, as soon as it goes down, the Zerglings are going to have just a feeding frenzy or a clawing frenzy inside the base over here. The marines and the marauders trying to make their way back over. Zerglings trying to engage, but I don't really think that much damage was really dealt. 73 drones versus 72 SCVs, as the roaches are continuing this pressure and perhaps going to start forcing Kaz to fight out of position. Another supply depot does get taken down. The roaches are now making their way off to the north. The roaches are going to finish off a marauder there and now finish off even more marines, as we are now going into 4 bases versus 3 right now. The roaches, for some reason, sticking around in this fight so far. It looks as though the marines and the siege tanks are going to take down the rest of those roaches. But in comes a very large swarming army, and in comes some fungal growth as well. There you go. There's a fungal growth. Kaz caught out of position. Marines and the marauders now being forced to back off here, as you can see infestors and roaches and zerglings down in this position here. Marines, marauders, and siege tanks now retreating back home. More zerglings now swarming into the center. This is not a planetary fortress. There is one bunker in this group and a very large group of units for Kaz right now, but he is slightly less on minerals and gas. We'll see what's going to happen here, as the Zerglings now going to swarm straight into the base. Bunker quickly going to get taken down. Infestors are in position. Are they going to get some fungal growth? Yes. There's that green goo across so many of those units, as the stim does come to a stop. Nerchio does not have enough for another fungal, but if he does get enough energy, he can perhaps land one more and destroy even more units. So Harvester count really, really heavily killed now. Kaz now down to 67, 68 SCVs. He's been really training them up off of a lot of command centers, and that's really helped him in the long run. As another engagement here, siege tank caught in transit. Zergling's trying to back off. Zergling's not going to swarm in. Are we going to get a fungal growth? Yeah, there's one fungal growth. Some more fungal growth coming in. The infestors all getting shot apart though, and this is going to be a weird exchange, as Nerchio has lost a lot, but so has Kaz. Production 22 Zerglings. We are going into the crackling upgrades and more infestors. Level 2 melee attack, as the roaches need to get away, but the Zerglings are going to run in straight, perhaps inside the main base. No, going to try to surround and finish off these marines here. The marines back to back trying to finish off all of those Zerglings. Look like they are able to, as they are upgraded 2-1. But we are getting into, I believe, 02 upgrades on these infestors, roaches, and 1-2 upgrades on those Zerglings. So the upgrades definitely even each other out. 12 Zerglings, 7 infestors, once again being hatched. And those infestors have really been the MVP of Nerchio's army. If he's able to come out ahead, it's because he's been landing fungal growth after fungal growth on these marines. Those marines, there you go, just completely stopped in their tracks, unable to really fight back. Zerglings now able to swarm against the rest of these siege tanks there, and down goes that attack force. And that may have been the beginning of the end now, as the army size of Kaz is half of Nerchio's. There's a fungal growth. More Zerglings finishing off some SCVs there. A mule getting taken down. And we are getting another command center over here. So Kaz still trying to stay in this. He still has a superior economy right now, but he has definitely lost a lot more overall. If you take a look at the losses tab. Now, we are going to see Zerglings and infestors off over here. Marines, Zerglings, infestors, and roaches against the mass marine army. The siege tanks have never really been able to mass up as effectively as we need. As we now see infested Terrans now spawning straight inside this group. Going to take down perhaps some of these SCVs. No. As the infestors are now simply running away here and now oppressed in an attack into the main base, the main gold location, and now even more fungal growth coming in and just fungal growthing left and right. A drop finally at the 12 o'clock location, but I don't believe there are that many drones. but I do believe Kaz, now at about half the overall food and almost half in total workers, is going to fall behind, especially as these infested Terrans are going to start finishing off even more of these SCVs here. Infested Terrans dealing 8 damage per attack, much more effective than their non-infested brethren, but then again, they aren't on a timer life. More infested Terrans now coming in. You can see infestors now finally getting destroyed after a scanner sweep reveals their location. But the swarm, the never-ending swarm, now about to make its way across the center. In come the Zerglings. Siege tanks attempting the siege. Roaches should be able to finish off many of those siege tanks in time. And now I believe that will be GG. Those infestors are a little bit gung-ho, getting in too far. And there is the GG by Kaz. So Kaz losing this game, and it appears that this was simply a best of 7 series with Nerchio losing 4-1. My apologies. When they mislabel the replays, there's not much I can do about it. I'll still keep the name of the games like 2 through 5 just because I mention it, but hopefully you guys don't get confused. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.